world I see holds nothing that I want. Sadly, the ego misunderstands this lesson, just like most of this book, in the sense of even the Sermon on the Mount, be thou perfect, even as thy Father in heaven is perfect. And we like to take statements like that, and we're like, oh, perfection. Oh, yes, perfection is this. Perfection is that. And yes, I'm going to be that perfect. And you get really strict, and you're trying to get your family to be that perfect, and you get really, really strict, and you're almost like crazed over it. And when they go out of being absolutely perfect, you're like, no, I'm gonna cast you out forever because you're not perfect. And trying to be this false image of what God has cast out of heaven type ideas. And I want you to understand and want you to know a little tidbit of information that anything that you read about, say, a God, deity that is separate from another is actually just another idea of a person. So just recognize that, because the totality of all that is, the totality of what God is all beings and all persons beyond definitions and shapes and forms. So these are ideas that you've had. This idea of God is something that you've had, including this idea of perfection and this idea of doing right or even getting out. So a lot of this lesson is rather interesting because as beautiful as it is and very useful, it establishes again the goal of ascension. So you want to recognize that this is about a goal. This is not about daily life. This is about achieving a specific goal. Yeah, not about daily life. This is about achieving a goal. There is a difference, okay? So often the ego takes it in the sense just like, be thou perfect, in the sense of trying to then obsess and control and try to shape and form into something that it's not. And even as yes, the world holds nothing that I want, is not necessarily about daily life. Daily life, you have things that you want in this world. You do. That's why you're here. So you want to recognize that you're here because of these things. But if your goal is to ascend to the higher plane of existence, to know the dream or the reality beyond the dream of this world, then yes, you have to take this wholeheartedly, completely. Yeah. And that's what I was doing when I was giving up everything, seeking out transcendence of the world, giving up everything. I left my wife, left my family, left everything. And I was throwing away everything. Yearbooks, all of it, all went in the trash. Everything just, as I was just going to, the only thing I was bringing away was sharing and connecting with others, like on the computer and such. Of course, it was before the super smartphones time, but it was absolutely, I did not want to see any value in the world at all. And that's essentially what I was forgiving, and that's what you're forgiving. You're surrendering the value in every single way. So if you want to live life, just note that you have values. You require values. You require not just values as morality, but in the sense of that you value something. I value my children. I value my wife. I value my message and this experience. And these are the exact same things. Not only I came back from my death experience to share and to do, but also was born into this life in the very first place to be here to do. And you might have forgotten your purpose, but in the same sense, you also have a purpose that you are living your life, a reason for being here that you hold to every single day. So yes, the holy purpose, as in, I know it's spelled Holy in here, but that's really just a made-up word about something about perfection idea. It's actually Wholly, holy purpose. So living into that holy purpose, letting your mind relax into that holy purpose is not a worldly thing. You essentially will only be practicing this lesson, and just like any other lesson in meditation, you're only practicing this until you actually get to that holy state of full, complete perception of all that is. So, as sadly as it is, you won't be achieving this unless you do. And guess what? If you come back out of the meditation, you're like, I just achieved it. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Don't water it down. That's why, I mean, in the same way, I don't want to say that I've achieved the totality of all existence, of all reality, and this life at the same time. It waters it down. It makes it into something it's not. And that's why I don't want to tell what's on the other side of the veil. I just want to show you how to experience it yourself. And then you'll find out. So this whole reality, as far as what this lesson is going to that. You cannot value anything of this world. And that's why you have to say forgive, and that's what forgiveness is actually letting go of the fact that you think of something as important, as in good and wonderful and lovely, and negative, problematic, difficulty, upsetting, both sides. Forgiveness is not just about the negative. It's not just about letting go of the negative. You have to really recognize this. And that's what this course, not directly, or this lesson, not directly talking about forgiveness, but it is about nothing that you want. What does that mean? Well, you obviously want this, you want that, you want to experience with your family, you want friends, you want this, you love this something or other, or maybe you want more money, maybe you want more sex, maybe you want something. None of that. And that's what it's saying. None of that. All of that is just more bars in your way, keeping you from understanding your totality of reality. I used to be a pantomime, sorry. That was one of them. The bar is imprisoning you into this life. So you really honestly have to see it that way. That if this something comes up in thinking it's important as in holy, good, beautiful, or negative, problematic, difficulty, both, one might be silver, one might be gold. They're both bars keeping you imprisoned in this reality. Okay? So that's what this is really about, that it's the knowledge of good and evil. It's just simply knowledge. That's what's keeping you here. Now, that's not necessarily to say that the knowledge of totality of all existence isn't present and available, but it's that knowledge of good and evil is one thing, and we call it separation here. So, the knowledge of separation, good and evil, separation. They're separated. They're not separated in reality, and it's not like they're intermingled like some sort of goth at prom or something. No, everybody is everything. Everyone is everything. And one is only one. It's not many. Okay? So you're recognizing here that forgiveness and this whole process is also coming out of and getting through the wonderful, beautiful things. The things you value. The things you hold dear. I know, it's sad. But even saying it's sad, even feeling that it's sad, is holding dear. So we want to remain diligent if your goal is ascension, as even my additional A Course in Miracles intensive course is about ascension. You have to recognize this is all inclusive. There's not one thing left out. You cannot leave it out. If you want to ascend, it is impossible for you to also ascend and maintain family life. Yeah. I mean, granted, yes, everything and everyone will be there waiting for you in a whole different construct of reality. But to be afraid of letting it go is essentially the fear of death. Yeah, the death or losing everything.